Welcome everybody to tonight's podcast episode. Tonight we have Dr. Francis Yu. He is a physician, physician coach, and psychologist. And what's really interesting is that he's an expert and has a lot of certifications in the Enneagram. We'll learn about what the Enneagram is, how he's using it to coach his clients, and how you can best use it in your coaching practice. And because I know a lot of you are physician coaches out there, so stay tuned. I'm gonna briefly introduce him. So Dr. Francis Yu, born and raised in New York, and really after many years realizing that corporate medicine was going the way it was, realized that he wasn't fulfilled and lacking meaning. So he took a leap of faith, choose to pursue his authentic life, and he started his holistic integrative private practice where he sees patients part-time and also coaches physicians. So he's a certified MBTI practitioner and certified Enneagram teacher, which we'll learn about today. And he uses these approaches along with existential philosophy and Eastern philosophy to help physicians truly know themselves, so that they can go out in the world, live lives of fulfillment and meaning. So without much ado, Francis, welcome to the show.
Hi, Christopher. Thanks for having me. I'm so flattered that you think I'm a psychologist because I talk about the mind so much. Although
Yeah.
I don't have an actual psychology degree, but I guess in your eyes, I'm a psychologist, so I'll take it. Yeah.
Well, a lot of coaching these days, you really have to get into the mind of the client. You have to really understand the client, their needs and wants. So I think
hmm
having your unique perspective, and I saw you were recently interviewed by Kevin MD. I think you wrote a couple articles for him,
Yeah.
and you appeared on his podcast. And I saw, that your video interview was actually one of the more popular ones. So I think a lot of physicians not only are they interested in coaching, but also interested in how you apply the Enneagram and
hmm
psychology and all of the factors into your practice. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, how you got into it, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Actually, this is great because I was just writing my next guest blog post, and it was about my search for meaning, which is really my journey to this point. And I guess the question that people ask me when I was growing up, and everyone gets asked, right, is what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? And honestly, as a child, I had no idea what is this growing up you're talking about. I'm just happy being here where I am now, reading my books, playing with my Lego, playing my video games. So, but unfortunately, I fell into this because I didn't have anything I particularly really wanted to do. I'm not one of those physicians that knew they were 4 years old and I want to be a doctor. That wasn't me. A lot of pressures from my immigrant parents who really want me to have a stable job. I know you talk about that a lot as well. But I was smart. I studied hard, really hard. I worked hard, got through undergrad, medical school, residency, years of clinical practice. But I just felt, where's the meaning in this? I did a great job. I'm not uh, being prideful, but my hospital really liked me. My patients liked me, but it was just I want to say empty. It was just incomplete. And I've always really been like that. Really interested in what is the meaning of doing things, spirituality, psychology, philosophy, and I just said, hey, I'm really interested in this kind of things. I still want to do medicine, but I want to do it my way so I can help people, physicians search for their meaning, help patients heal the way I, with my art and science, get them the best results in the time frame that's really best for us. So that really is what I do now. I teach and coach and educate and help people with the Enneagram, which really I would say is a way to remember who we really are. We're this authentic people with a vision, values, and importance in our lives that honestly school sucks out of us, right?
Mhm.
School sucks out our dreams and doesn't teach us to explore our own souls and to manifest our meaning. So, which is how I ended up being so incomplete. But now I use all the things I try to fill that kind of emptiness with, like the Enneagram, Myers Briggs, philosophy, and helped my life a lot. And I figured physicians need to help find meaning. If they do, if they feel like I'm speaking to them, we just connect. Then yeah, I help those people who really want to have that manifest their true authentic meaning in their life.
I like that. So it's really interesting because because now in this new what they call the third or fourth industrial revolution,
Mm-hmm.
and back then when we were growing up, really you went to school to get a job, and that was the paradigm. You go to school, you get a job, and the job is supposed to provide so you can
Mm-hmm.
live and be productive. And that we see that entire paradigm being disrupted, and people aren't prepared for it. So a lot of people, they go into medicine. One is a lot of them go in because they love patients, they love medicine, and they want to take care. But it's just the corporate hospital system. It's run by bureaucrats, administrators, and businessmen, and they really don't look at the well-being of the physician. And physicians by
Exactly.
nature are very empathic. They're healers.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to say no. They say yes to everything. So they get used by this culture, which is leading to a lot of the problems that we see today.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, they go into medicine for the wrong reasons. They're gonna what it looks like on TV, or they think they're gonna be rich. They all of the things that they're chasing, they're chasing for one thing, and they think that medicine is that means. And when they get to that end, it's not what it is. It's really disheartening. And then a lot of physicians such as yourself, looking for different ways to incorporate it. They're good at what they do, but they're seeking alternative ways, besides just patient care and teaching. There's so many different ways. We have so many skill sets at our disposal. So that you bring up a good point. So tell us really, this Enneagram. When I first
Mm-hmm.
heard about it, I it's so foreign. I didn't really
Yeah.
understand it. It took me a long time. Tell the viewers what is the Enneagram, and where is it coming from, and what are the principles, and in a nutshell, it's quite it's quite complex.
Yeah. I would say most people that know the Enneagram know it as either as a business team tool. There's
Uh-huh.
actually a bunch of Forbes articles on it. But I think the other part of the population sees it as this gimmick or fad to way to like a personality, like a trick almost.
Um,
But I think that's really people's uh, not desiring to really know themselves and kind of do the work to figure things out.
uh,
Enneagram is not I'm gonna label people. I'm gonna be that person because I'm this number now. So the Enneagram is a very robust system. It
uh-huh.
has its own philosophy, psychology, and practice. And it's really about recalling and remembering our real true potential. And it's about how to wake up to the ways we just fall asleep to our potential and how wonderful we are. But then we try so hard to become wonderful. But we're already wonderful. We just have to remember it and be able to express it and share it in a beautiful way. And the most common part of the Enneagram people see, which is very useful, is the 9 different Enneagram types.
Uh-huh.
Now, I could talk about, before I talk about the types, I routinely talk about the background for quite a long time. But I don't want to give an entire course here, but essentially what it is that we all have, there are 9 different ways that we forget our true potential. And then these are the 9 ways that we try to then reformulate and try to uh, gain something that we already have. So I'll just give a very quick example because most physicians have an element of this is the type 3. In school, we're taught you have to get the grades, you have to pass, you have to take this exam, you have to get accepted into the school, you have to take the next exam, get accepted into this school, accepted into a residency, accepted into a job, get a promotion. It's this constant, you have to succeed by the worldly standards and accomplish to show people and yourself, hey, I'm actually a valuable person. But really, we're all valuable people. But the world instills in this effect that we have to try really hard to become valuable. But really, we can accomplish things once we realize we're already truly valuable and worthwhile people. So that's just one lesson from the Enneagram. I think all physicians feel that to a certain extent, especially in today's world. But there are different nuances, and there are also 8 different ways that people react and have patterns and try to basically not live their best life. But simultaneously, the Enneagram also shows us how we can break out of that pattern and wake up to our potential.
Well, that's really interesting. So tell us more like how you would can give us an example of how you would use the Enneagram in your coaching practice.
Yeah. Well, there's part of the journey is finding your Enneagram type, which actually took me years to find out. So I don't try to uh, force people to find out their type right away. But the most crucial element of the Enneagram concept is that we have to observe ourselves.
Uh,
Let's say we always get angry when, I don't know, someone cuts us off, or we always get irritated or feel anxious when a specific thing happens. So if we explore how we are reacting, the same emotions, same thoughts, same habits comes up, then we can see, oh wait, I'm falling into my same pattern again. Once we identify it, we can see that we are falling into a pattern that's not constructive for our full well-being. And it's even better if you really know your Enneagram type. So I like to help people find their types. Uh, for example, I'll give an example for me. A personal example always, I think, demonstrates quite well. Uh, I have a tendency to believe that I don't know enough, that I'm not competent, that I'm not prepared enough. Even if other people tell me, oh, you're smart, that was amazing, I just have this, I have to take another course. I need another board certification. As you can see on my website, I have multiple medical and non-medical certifications. But once I realized I did that and I didn't need to, that I was actually quite smart. Physicians are smart, but I studied a lot. And what I needed to do was just step out and experience by learning in the world and doing things. I'm plenty smart at reading, writing, getting certifications, etc. But I didn't have much of the experience of learning, let's say failing in a business or trying things. And that was really hard for me. But using the Enneagram, I found out that's my pattern. And I need to consciously do something about it to experience what I'm really capable of.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very, you brought up a lot of good points. And, for the listeners out there, Dr. Francis, you will go through this Enneagram and go into more detail in his books, in his courses, and through his coaching. So, in a nutshell, it's sort of identifying different personality types, how you react to certain situations, and becoming consciously aware so that you can break old habits and patterns.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, and then where could somebody go to read more about the Enneagram, or do you recommend any books, courses, websites, what's the best resource for people to learn about it?
Yeah, definitely. I would suggest similar to how doctors don't really appreciate it when patients go to Doctor Google first. It's a lot of information, but there's a lack of direction for critical thinking and helping people figure out all that knowledge. So I recommend going to people who really know what they're talking about, people who've been learning about it for years, etc. For me, my primary teachers were from the Enneagram Institute, and I'm certified through them. I took hundreds of hours courses through them, and I became certified through them. So, as a general introduction, they're very good. They have some free content as well, but there really isn't very few physicians that work with the Enneagram. And as a physician, I would really recommend working with someone who knows the Enneagram and is a physician,
Uh-huh.
such as me, because they really understand your context and the rapport that you have, and understanding that you have, uh, and you know that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I think I'm a good resource. And if not, I can point you to somewhere else if you feel like you want a lot more than something what I have to offer, or something different.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Um, so let's transition because I know you were full-time in the hospital, and then you were really strong in the administrative academic
Mm-hmm.
side, and then you transitioned to part-time. Tell us how that was, and how does your day go, and what are you doing with that extra time that you have now? Because I know you're working with a lot of physicians and doing a lot of coaching.
Yeah, yeah. When I was full time, I was I don't know how I did all of this. Right, I was seeing patients, outpatient, inpatient, teaching students, teaching residents, program director, associate program director for a different program. I was vice chair for the family medicine department, and I was leading QI projects. I was basically trying on hats. And I realized I was doing too much, but I learned from those experiences. But what I learned was I didn't want to do those things. So I went part time at the hospital. I'm very grateful for my colleagues and leadership there that gave me that opportunity, because I was really frank on my journey, and they were supportive of what I wanted to do, which I don't think you don't find that in all hospitals. So I'm really grateful for that. And then I started to grow my private practice. I wrote and self-published 2 books. I started and revamped my coaching and teaching programs to help physicians find meaning and value and fulfillment in their lives. So I one-on-one or different types of coaching. I've really been excited to help people with the things I bring. Right, instead of calling myself a life coach, I really call myself someone who helps people with the soul searching, like a soul coach, and
Uh-huh.
finding meaning for fulfillment and wellness and wholeness and fulfillment. So that's how I like to present myself, because it's really about the soul for me and the meaning. And there are plenty of life coaches, but if I'm a soul coach, I'm gonna go deep into some deep places to really help you find your meaning. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Um, so I know you talked a lot about your journey, and looks like you're building your brand around this your journey and your experiences and your based on your studies with the and your certification with the Enneagram Institute, and that's really great. So you've written 2 books that I'll post the links later on. You offer coaching. I know you offer 6 months programs and different packages. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely reach out to Dr. Francis Yu. I'll put in the links there. And then also you have a lot of different products, programs,
Mm-hmm.
courses. So I think it's really because there's so many different ways that the physician coaching industry is actually
Mm-hmm.
everybody is calling themselves a coach. So but it's really
Exactly.
it really takes I think you have a really unique slant and angle with the Enneagram. So I think a lot of clients may be interested in reaching out to you and seeing what you have to offer. So thanks for coming on, sharing your time. I'll be sure to post the links, and then be sure to reach out to Dr. Francis Yu. You can follow him on his social media handles. His email will all and what his website will all be provided.
Yeah.
So, do you have one last tip, farewell, any last parting words before we call it a night?
Yeah. I would say stop living someone else's life and live your own, because we are all living, we're conducting an experiment of n equals 1, where we're all our own subject, we're our own experimenter. No one else has lived your life. No one else will live your life. No one has the exact same meaning and soul as you do. So really start living your own life to the fullest maximum potential.
I love that. So, these days, the world is your oyster. So, take risks, go out there and really just live your best life. It's going to take a lot of courage. You're going to experience a lot of fear, but once you break past those barriers, you'll see the growth and the potential there. So, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.